Welcome back, everyone, to Lore of the Shadow, where last time we rescued the king of the stout axes and were repaid by being tossed outside and said that we are traitors. Well, that's what you get for helping someone. Apparently, in Mordor, no good deed goes unpunished. Well, how are you doing, Spockworth? Sorry about the trouble.
Our fortunes are lost, and our people broken.
I am ashamed that I could not resist Zoreth Pinelore. I'm ashamed that I could not even sense her deception, that she could spy upon the stout axes through my very eyes and work our ruin. I have failed you, and I have failed Gimli. Leave me if you wish. It is the fate that I deserve. Spockworth notices that I am making no effort to leave. Well, what sort of dwarf is so easily swayed by the power of evil? I suppose that's a foolish question to ask now. Zorith may have planned to use me in her search for the rings of power, but now King Voskmund has forsaken us all for Monthreef. If this is the way of the Firehorns, I want no part of it. All right, well, then he's... Ooh. Okay, one set of shoes with +2 light with another one that's +2 light. It'd be really nice to bring the number to a nice... Oh, okay, let's see. Oh, actually, light is now 38. Yeah, it'd be nice to get my light up to 40. That's where I really like it to be, so that I can reduce it on the little trouble that it gives me. What do you say?
Sauron took everything from us, and then he took more.
Apparently, he's taking more even after he's dead. Gimli was not turn his eyes from the spire since we were cast out. I wonder, does he truly believe a share of the blame is his? In truth, the blame lies with Voskmund, Zorith, and Sauron himself. By Sauron's own hand, Voskmund was corrupted by the ring, and he is now bound to it by pride and greed, as the Nazgûl were to their own rings. Gimli's a fine dwarf, and he has done my people no ill. He must not believe that his efforts to aid us were the cause of such sorrow. It was Voskmund and his fire horns. As he commanded, the spire is now called the Oath-Taker's Horn. Oh boy. I'm going to have as much trouble... Okay, at least I can pronounce the word, but I might still call it the big L. What oath has been taken, I ask? An oath to bring ruin upon our people? Voskmund may as well consider it fulfilled then. But don't worry, half the oaths I have ever heard of bring ruin upon the people, so that's nothing new. Now that we have had... What do you have over there? Do you see the two of them by the statue of Sauron? Well, they're certainly not dwarves. Could they be allies of yours? Two people. Statue of Sauron. By this statue. Yes, this statue. I think I made comments on this one earlier about here, but yeah, Sauron looking over the big L. Or something like that. Yes, there are two people over there. Looks like elves to me. Is that Legolas? No, that's not Legolas. That's Megariel, the Spear of Linden. And this is Durnaith, another Spear of Linden. Okay, and what do these spears need? What business have you in these lands? Did you travel hither with a host of men, or is this land your home? Plea me, I don't think any hobbit would survive in this place. Speak at once, or my spear shall be swift. Okay, I suppose I better speak swiftly then. Did you not hear? I said speak. Why have you come here? Alright, I introduce myself to Megril and tell her of my journeys with the hosts of the West and my efforts to ensure the success of the Ringbearer's quest and of the downfall of Sauron the enemy. I also tell her of the dwarves of Mordor and of their efforts to find the lost dwarf rings of Sauron's hordes. Okay, very well, Pinelore. I am Meg. Excuse me, I've got this salamander to deal with first. It seemed like it wanted to have a tasty hobbit leg. Okay, where were we? Oh, yes. Very well. I am Megril of Lindon, and my companion is Dernaith. We are among the last remnants of the great alliance in this realm, and it brought us joy and relief to learn that Sauron is truly fallen. Death has always eluded the Dark Lord, but I have heard that his ring is gone, and that his essence diminished to naught. I know not why any would seek the dwarf rings or any other artifacts that was wrought through Sauron's corruption, for now the evils that he has done to the peoples of Middle-earth might now begin to heal at last. Well, don't worry. A lot of people wonder about why he would be wanting to, why anyone would be wanting to look for those things. But, believe me, the treasure hunters all over the place. I never thought that I would look upon the plains of Gorgoroth again, but fate has brought me hither once more. You see, Dernaith and I have returned to this land in search for our lost friend and kin, Thelaron. During what is now called the War of the Last Alliance, our friend was taken by the enemy and borne into Mordor on the back of one of those winged fell beasts. Our efforts to rescue Thelaron before he was taken beyond Morannon failed, and in so doing we nearly lost another of Gil-galad's favored warriors to the corruption of Morgul steel. Even after Sauron fell at the end of the Second Age, we could not find Thelaron in Mordor. He was hidden somewhere beyond our sight, and the enemy's forces still remained to harry us, a few as they were after the war. Thus our search begins anew. If Thelaron still lives, we shall find him after 3,000 years. Oh, that's the dedication of an elf, that's for sure. Dernaith has been attempting to learn what the spirits residing in these watching stones have seen, that they might unwittingly aid us. But none have answered our challenges, other than this one. Yeah, I'm sorry, I chased a few of them away. And Dernaith beheld a terrible form rise from the statue of Sauron, and it spoke to him, warning that he will share the fate of those who are cursed in the Mordath. I have never known such a place in Mordor. Oh, the Mordath? Oh, believe me, you really don't want to see it. But in the language of the elves, it means the Black Pit. Indeed, this has given us much to consider. Believe me, I have seen the edges of this Black Pit. You really don't want to go there. Perhaps Dernaith might know of the fates of the dwarf rings that you spoke of. Well, I guess we'll go and find out. Right? Now let's see what he has to say. I am still recovering from the encounter with one of the enemy's fell spirits. I understand it. I encountered a couple of them myself. And my will has been exhausted. Allow me a moment, and shall speak. If Megril has not wished us to speak, I would not stand where you are now. What is it that you wish? I tell Margaret that Megril mentioned the fell spirit that inhabited the Watching Stone, and that she and Dernaith had come in search for the elf ring called Thelaron. I also mentioned that the dwarf rings, and asked if Dernaith knows any of their history beyond when they first granted to the dwarf kingdoms by Sauron. Indeed, we have come in search for our companion, Thelaron. This is a quest of our own, and one given to us long ago by the High King of my people, before he was slain by Sauron. As for the fell spirit, the one that rose from this statue looked a shade of Sauron himself, but weaker and less wicked in form. It was an echo of Sauron's sorcery, an echo of the Dark Lord, a glamour. This glamour told me of the Mordoth, a black pit beneath Barad-dûr where the condemned are imprisoned, and it also told me to leave these lands or I will join the forgotten in the depths of the black pits and never again find my way from Mordor. I do not heed the warnings of such spirits, but these tidings are both good and ill. If the Lauren lives, he may have been taken into the black pits, where he's been sitting for 3,000 years. Consider that. Thus, we would have never found him when last we destroyed Barad-dûr. He was hidden away, far beneath the scorched lands of Mordor, left to pass an age in silence and in darkness, and bearing whatever tortures the Dark Lord devised for him. To answer your questions of the dwarf rings, I have heard a few tales and rumors of them, but little else. As I have heard it old, they did not work as Sauron had planned. The dwarf rings granted might and luck, as well as some manner of concealment, but they did not corrupt the dwarves and servants of the Dark Lord as the rings of men did. Instead, the dwarf rings brought forth a powerful and insatiable greed from deep within the minds of the dwarf kings, a greed that bred in them a compulsion to seek wealth by any means and to hoard it to the last halls. Ah! But other creatures were as fond of gold as dwarves, and so for some of the dwarf kingdoms the rings brought them to ruin, as in the case of Smaug and the Lonely Mountain and all that. I'm afraid that is all that I know of them, and so I believe it is time that Migriel and I resume our search and seek out the Mordoth. Your allies here seem to have great need of you. If our paths cross again, Migriel and I shall stand at your side. Now, this is of course all set up for the raid, which is down in the depths of Mordath. And no, that's not going to be part of the story because I'm not going to be doing a raid. No, sorry. So let us get back to Gimli. It was a pair of elves. I have made some more than a few great mistakes in my time pine lore, but as any fine dwarf would, and as I always have, I put them to rights. The tortures Sauron wrought upon Voskman might not be undone, but there is still a goodness in these dwarves, a fair few of them anyway. To sulk here wishing of a different fate for the stout axes, that is not the way of a dwarf. The ring that he seeks, this Manthreath, it shall not free him from the delusions and greed. I say Voskman must be convinced of this folly, or he will be brought low. Well, I have a feeling right now that's not going to be easily done. This is not as simple a matter as it was with the Dourhands. These firehorns are not cruel or evil in their hearts, but the promise of a dwarf ring's power has begun to chip away at their good sense. When I saw what the ring did to Frodo, even in the short span of months that he bore it before our paths were forced apart, if Voskman was forced to wear it in the dungeons of Barad-dûr during his imprisonment and then deprived of his power by Sauron, his mind may have withered into an obsession. Although being a dwarf, I think he may have fated a bit better than Gollum. I do not wish to raise arms against Voskman and his people if it can be helped. Voskman may not allow us inside the Oath-taker's horn, but that does not mean that we cannot come to the doors of the spire. Ha ha ha! I know, I was almost calling it the Oath Breaker's horn, but considering what they did to us, I think the Oathbreaker's horn might be a better name for it. So if I call it that by accident, well, just say it. I consider it appropriate. Go to the hidden gate of the Oathbreaker's horn and summon the fire horns. Deliver them an invitation for King Greytooth to meet us upon the field. When that is done, we shall speak of peace and of having some better dwarf sense. Alright, well, okay, I will deliver this. Somehow I have a feeling, though, that dwarf sense is rarely as sensible as hobbit sense. I suppose we could use the front door in delivering this message. Oh, what? I didn't take this page yet?
Then Turun and Harad Sauron roamed, gifting 6 of the 9 rings to kings and chieftains, yoking peoples and armies under his command. 7 to dwarf lords in their hidden halls.
Right, now, what I'm supposed to do is deliver a message to the fire horns at the hidden gate. Based on the sounds I'm hearing within, sounds like they are sealing the gate. Well, Gimli, sounds like they are barring our way. What do you want us to do now? The main gate? Okay, we'll give it a try. Now, we need to check on the inside. I believe you discover a metal rot mechanism outside the main gate. Let's use it. You hear muffled trumpeted as Aetur and 2 firehorn warriors exit. There shall be no peace between us, neither now nor once the ring is found. We shall send Gimli a message of our own. Your head! Well, that is rude. Rude! New deed! Really? Really? Oh, good grief. Not only, and you think we're at the end of the storyline, we are finished with the story for the fire horns, stout axes, or whatever. What does it say? New deed for killing evil dwarves in Mordor. You have got to be kidding me. Endure a moth. Okay. Gimli's not going to like this. They decided to attack me. The Firehorns did what now? They attacked you? And they threatened my folk? Well, that settles it. The time for talk has ended. Uh-oh. We got problems now. Our hand is forced, Pinelore. The dwarves of Mordor have turned against themselves. Voskman's treachery cannot go unanswered. We must stop the Firehorns from seeking the dwarf ring. No matter their supposed might, some family heirloom are best forgotten, I think. It is not unlike the axe of Mithril Ziegelbert, of which you once spoke. If the search does not bring them to ruin, finding it will not change their fortune. If the men of Mordor still desire the ring, they shall not rest until it is recovered, whether it is by their own hands or taken from those foolish enough to wield it in Mordor. No matter where he leads them, Voskman is putting his folk into great danger. The fool would lead his people into the fires of Mount Doom if he thought that the dwarf ring might be hidden there. Well, considering what the appearance of the abyss of Mordath is, yeah, I think that's pretty much. Think of Barad-dûr and Mount Doom melded together. That's Mordath. These firehorns are even worse than the Dourhands that we encountered in our adventures, my friend. At least I knew where I stood with the Dourhands. Perhaps Legolas might be right after all. It is decided then, for the good of the dwarves of Mordor, we must storm the Oath-Taker's horn. Alright. So, aid Sparkoth and Gimli in lots of quests inside of the Oath-Taker's horn, the Oathbreaker's horn, the Big L, or whatever you call it. Oh yes, the Flaming Spire, or is that the Framing Spire? Or whatever you want to call it. We are going to be storming that in the next episode of Lore of the Shadow.